What is pussy poppin', you beautiful humans? My name is Ariane Andrew,
I'm not Dillon, and welcome to another piping hot episode of Sippin the Tea, where we want, girl.
where we sip the tea and our guests
Spill
spill
that
that tea.
tea. Yeah, baby. I did not leave you hanging.
You better not leave me hanging. Where's your baby?
She passed out somewhere. Not sure. She could be swimming in the ocean for all I know.
Damn,
Where's Liddy? Where's Liddy?
she's sleeping.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very special episode today. Miss Chelsea Dunn in the screen below. You know her from WWE. You know her from her podcast, which just dropped yesterday, and so much more. And sisters in unity together. Wrestling world. This is gonna be a good one. What is up, girl? Welcome.
Thanks for having me, you guys. I'm so excited. I wanted to do this months ago with you guys, but
Lies. She's too busy.
Yeah, so busy waiting to debut for the 10th time that I could not come on here. But now look,
Girl, you are here. And
I'm here.
Looking fab. So that's all that matters.
Gorgeous.
Yes. Okay, so girl, we're gonna get right into it. 2020 was a very interesting year, I like to say. But we're gonna focus on the positives. So looking back when we were in 2020, what were 3 positive takeaways when you look back?
So I would definitely say the biggest takeaway was I never got to be home. I haven't been home consistently. You know the road life. I have not been home consistently in years since starting wrestling. So to have an entire year at home to focus on my relationship. Oh, where'd you go?
Oh,
You got a text message, girl.
Where'd you go? Where'd you guys go?
right here.
Right
Oh, there
here.
you are. And the baby. So to be able to focus on my relationship and not just with my fiance, but just my relationship, contacting my friends and checking in on my family. Honestly, those are like all of the takeaways, is just being able to connect with everyone again. And even with myself as well. It was huge for me. And I also got a puppy. So that was kind of huge too.
I like that word that you touched on, because the word connect. I feel like that time period, I call it that time period because I'd rather forget it and focus on moving forwards.
Yes.
Whatever that looks like. But I do feel like you touched on something that seems like a kind of lineage for everybody, that they connected with themselves. And I think that's something that is so important. And I think, like, as human beings, connecting with yourself, and like, God, now we have plenty of time to do that. So now we're ready to reconnect with everybody, which I'm excited about. For those that don't know your journey in wrestling, give us a little, 90-second tidbit on it. But is wrestling something that was that your dream, or was that something that you learned to love? Like, what, or is it?
That's exactly it. I totally learned to love it. I did not realize, I knew I was always an attention seeker, always. Like, and I always loved, and I was a drama queen and all that. Like, and everyone, I don't think anyone is surprised that I ended up doing this, but it kind of surprised me because I was in like the fitness world, going to school for kinesiology, bartending, slanging drinks, things like that. And I totally just fell into wrestling when I was going to school and Googling how to be a WWE diva. Like, I'm not joking. That is how I got into it.
Right.
Yes. And it turns out that an amazing trainer lived 10 minutes down the road from me, or trained 10 minutes down the road from me. So I dropped out of school in 2014 and started wrestling. And I'm one of those people, like, when I decide to do something, I tell everyone so that I'm held accountable. So I told everyone and their dog that I was going to be a wrestler, and I got in the ring and I loved it. I knew I would love it when I kind of like did my research, but I loved it so much more than I even knew I would love it.
Wow, that's so interesting, because it's always cool to hear people's backstories on, like, was it something that they loved, or was it something that they kind of fell into? And we all know wrestling, whether it's WWE or Indies or Impact or whatever that is, it's all about entertainment. So, I mean, I could totally, when you're like, yes, I would be an entertainer, it's like it creates so many different worlds and kind of puts it together to bring like this amazing synergy.
Yes, and that's the thing. I'm not obsessed with wrestling. And I think people have learned that about me now. I'm obsessed with entertaining. I'm obsessed with making people laugh or feel something, and that's just like what we do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is going a little bit off script, but everyone kind of knows my story and not like, having the love for wrestling. Did you ever get any like backlash for when people were like, well, you didn't grow up, watching?
Right. Okay. So if people don't know, it's something that's funny about WWE is that everyone looks at us like we're equals, but when you're in the locker room, the people who didn't wrestle on the indies kind of battle the people who wrestled on the indies. And it's just this weird, like, but I'm a kind of an in-between because I fell in love with wrestling through watching Kelly, which is not a normal thing when you're on the independent scene. Like, I always wanted to be a diva. That was like my dream. Again, something that a lot of female wrestlers on the independent scene don't say. So I was kind of this weird in between. I got a lot of hate on the indies for wanting to be a diva, for wanting to go straight to WWE and push my boobs up and put sparkles on, all over me and wear pink. I got a lot of hate for that. And then at WWE, I was in this weird spot where like now I'm the indie girl and all the WWE girls who weren't on the independent scene look at me like, oh, she thinks she's better than us because she's on the indies. Like, so it was very weird. I got negatives from both, but also like, I feel like that's where my story comes from and my fight comes from and my drive comes from, because every time people put me in a box, I prove to them that I don't belong in that box.
Yes.
Good mindset.
Yeah.
I see a little bit of similarity between the two of you, Ari. I was like, you kind of beating to the sound of your own drum. I really liked when you said that you told people you would be a wrestler before you even started that because of the accountability. I was like, girl, you got a good head on your shoulders for sure. That's something I live by. I'm like, I'm doing this. And then you just fill the chest to fill in the blanks to make it. I love that. I'm like, I'm a fan already, honey. I'm like, I'm in. That's good, solid, like kind of approach to life, I think.
I feel like you have to be that way because otherwise, like obviously failing is very scary, but when you put it out there, there is so much more of a chance that you're going to succeed because guess what? Everyone's watching you, everyone's holding you accountable, and you're going to do your friggin' damnedest to succeed.
Hey, girl, you can't say failure. You just have to say it's just getting experience to go back and have more knowledge to be like, all right, I needed that to get to where I need to ultimately be.
I agree.
Millions of people. Millions of people. Just a little knowledge.
Yes. Which, speaking of, girl, we're obviously sorry about the release, but again, like I said, I never look at something like, oh, I always say the close of one chapter is like the beginning of a new chapter of something that you're like, wow, initially you can't see it, but then you look back and you're like, okay, I understand why that has happened. And you have such a strong mindset. Like, we never really got a chance to connect, but just hearing you talk and hearing like your drive and your passion, just like your charisma, I'm like, okay, this girl is going places. But I do have to ask, because, viewers that are listening and watching, with that strong mindset that you have, was there ever a moment where you felt like giving up, whether it was before WWE or during WWE when you were getting your injuries and things just kept happening? You're like, what is going on? Was there ever a moment where you just were like, you know what? I don't know if I can do this.
I think I like to say no, but that would be a total lie because Matt has sat with me in bed while I cried so many times. Before WWE, I just wanted to get there so bad and I couldn't understand why they didn't want me for years. Why don't you want me? I'm getting better. I'm the champion of Impact. I'm traveling all over the world. Like, why don't you want me? And then you get to WWE and, you realize that just because you're there doesn't mean you're there, you're not on TV, and you're not, or you're not used the way that you imagined. And there are nights when I cried over that. But I mean, like, looking back on it, I needed to go through all those things, because if I didn't go through all those things, like, I wouldn't have this mindset. And every single time that I felt like, oh, the universe is working against me, like you said, something better came along. And that's always how it works. And you can never, I can never guess what's going to come next, because something even better than I could have imagined is going to come. And it's going to be like, oh, this is why, I'm not with WWE, or I didn't get hired by WWE right away. And once I got to WWE, I really did realize this is the best time to be here. When I got hired, like, finally, I'm like, oh, my eyes are open, because I wouldn't have thrived the way that I'm, thriving now had I got hired 4 years ago.
That's so tiny in mindset.
Yeah.
Girl, you are like, you have such a different mindset though than, I mean, a lot of people that I feel like I used to work with, or even like people being in, I don't
What are you talking about, Willis? What shade you throwing, girl?
I'm just saying in general, whether it's wrestling, acting, singing, most people don't have that mindset of, that positive mindset. It's very rare that you come across. There's only like that, I feel like that 1% of people that you're like, oh, okay, they get it.
It's funny, because I at the beginning of my NXT career, I think people thought that my outlook on life was fake. And that's like, I really had to prove, like, no, this is who I am. This is how I feel. The relationships that I've been in with men in the past, they have all helped me to feel this way as well. I like to date people who are driven and positive and like just go for things. And that has really helped me as well to be this person. And I did have to prove to a lot of people, like, no, I am actually nice. I'm not pretending. I'm not going behind your back. And, like, I know this is like a Hollywood and entertainment industry thing, but there are good people,
Well, yes, and thank you for reminding everybody out there, especially in entertainment. Let's be honest, Matt and Chelsea, girl. There's times when you become jaded, because you're like, well, damn, like, are there still good people out there? But there is.
Yeah.
I think you touched on something. There's times when you become jaded. You have a lot that's coming up, but what was that gut reaction when you were released from WWE? I want that honest, raw feeling of that being like, because that puts you in a place of like confronting the next chapter and rewriting and starting. So what was that moment like that gut reaction?
So I'm not gonna lie, I was shocked, because I felt like my time was cut so short, and I had so many people on my side that were really pushing for me at WWE. So I just did not think that was even an option, that I was going to have my time cut short before I could show them what I could do. So I was really shocked. I also had a girlfriend over at the time, Santana Garrett, who wrestles for, well, she's kind of on the main roster. She's in limbo between NXT and the main roster right now. And we have been, doing everything together and come up together. And so it was kind of like a bizarre feeling to get fired in front of your friend, and you hope that they're not going to get fired. But then when they don't get fired, you're like, but wait, what? But that doesn't make sense. Like, it was so confusing. And I kind of have used the word, like, I was emotionless. And I thought I would cry. I thought I would have all these emotions. And instead I didn't. And it took me it took me all day and night to come up with what to say, what that blurb to put out to everyone who's wondering how I'm feeling, because I was like, I just had nothing going on. I'm like, I don't even know what to think. Now it's been a week.
Yeah.
I've had time to think. I know that this is going to be for the best. Am I sad? Absolutely. Do I think that this is the wrong decision? Yes, because I have confidence in myself. With that being said, it's like having an ex-boyfriend. I kind of want to prove them wrong. I want them to want me back the way I want ex-boyfriends to want me back. And I think I'm going to have a lot of fun doing that.
I mean, I always say the sweetest, like instead of like talking shit or anything like that, the sweetest revenge is just to win. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, I always say too, just because that chapter is closed right now, who's to say that in a year they're like, hey girl, we got this X, Y, and Z popping. And I mean, that's why I always say too, like I never try to burn a bridge or anything.
Absolutely not.
You never know like when your paths are gonna cross. And just because that chapter is closed at the moment, girl, it doesn't
Exactly. And how thankful am I that I didn't burn the bridges when I went to WWE too? Because now look, I need those. I need those connections.
Yeah, but also like they're amazing memories too. So if wherever you go, and same for you, Ariane, like they follow you and the fans love you, and that fandom is so nothing like I've ever seen before.
No, I know.
I was signing with Ariane in New Jersey once, and I was like,
he was like, wait, what?
I got dressed up, honey. She was serving a look, and then I was like, what's going on here?
It is
they're ride or die though, so I think that's very special about it, and I think whether this is it or whether this is a pause for now, you have a beautiful multiple chapters of your memoir under your belt for what is to come. For sure. So
amen.
That's up to you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, regardless if it's been WWE or it's been prior, what would you say has been your biggest highlight of your career so far? And what highlight are you trying to now make moving forward?
So I definitely would say one highlight in wrestling was winning the Impact Championship, just because it came out of the blue. Yeah, I truly felt like I was given something before I had earned it. And I was so thankful that they put that trust in me. But with that being said as well, one moment in my career so far that just like made my heart so full was wrestling in the 4-way match at All In, which All In now turned into AEW. Being on that show, a show that truly only succeeded because of the fans. Like really, the fans had so much faith in all of us as indie performers that they filled 20,000 seats. And how many people watched, that pay-per-view? That was like the best moment ever. I'll never forget hitting my last move before I was pinned and the crowd getting up on their feet and cheering, and I just like get goosebumps thinking about it. Like if I could relive that day over again 10 times, I would. And then I guess moving forward, gosh, I don't even know, because I don't know what is yet to come. I really hope
put it out there, manifest it.
Okay, manifesting. There are two things that I have put out there now. One is that I would love to have a podcast on Barstool.
Okay.
I love Barstool. I love everything about them. I love
Dave. Honey.
Yes, Dave.
Let's get it popping.
Dave, call me. So that's something that I put out there on social media so everybody can see, holding myself accountable. Two that I haven't put out there that is like a secret want, but like I've spoken to people about, is I would love to be in Playboy.
Oh.
Well, I am a publicist, darling. My full-time job is PR, darling.
I kind of put it out there. I put it out there to a couple people, like my people that would hold me accountable privately, my friends, my family, Matt.
You just put it out here, honey. We're dropping this shit on.
Yeah, exactly. You got the tea. Oh. You got the tea. That is like something that I've always wanted. And I think that goes back to like my wannabe diva days. Like that is just so one of those things that was on my bucket list as like a 18-year-old. And I'm just not ready to scratch it out. I want to tick it off.
No, I love this vibe. I'm like bright, bubbly, but so much substance.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not WWE, so I didn't know what to expect. But I was like, wow, girl, like you're gonna hit your marks based on the fact that you put that shit out.
Thank you.
Because you're not gonna let yourself be held accountable for not doing so. So
exactly.
Yes. Well, girl, speaking of being on Barstool, let's talk about your podcast, 50 Shades of Green. So yeah, girl, spill the tea and let the audience know, like, what it's about, what we can expect. And yeah, girl, since your time to go ahead and spill that.
So I know that people want to, I know that my fans are wrestling based. So I can't just totally ignore that as much as I want to, because I feel like I have so much more to talk about. We are going to touch on the podcast about wrestling, but what I want it to be is just things people don't know. Embarrassing stories. I have so many. I can't even begin to explain. I have so many. I talked this week about how I hit my finishing move wrong on live television. I'm going to talk next week about when my nipples came out on live television. Like, all the things have happened to me, but I want to not only talk about that, I want to get into relationship stuff. Matt and I do not have like this smooth relationship like you see on Instagram, especially with COVID. That is just like, we were like this. And I just
go ahead and spill that tea. Hold on.
Oh yeah. It was, I'm not even lying. It was the hardest year of our relationship. I'm sure there's going to be harder years, but like, I speak with all my girlfriends about this. You are not alone if you have been wanting to kill your partner. That is just what has happened with COVID. We're just down each other's throats and everything. And that's something we really had to work through. And we went to therapy and we're like so much better now. But right. I want to talk about all that stuff and whether it's sex or fitness or embarrassing stories, like whatever it is, I'm human. I am absolutely not trying to be Miss America. And I am, gonna curse and talk about all that shit. So I hope people tune in knowing that I'm gonna hit on wrestling, but we're gonna talk about so much more dirt.
I cannot wait. Yes. Well, what I appreciate is because I always say people are living their best lie and not their best life. And yes, of course, everyone's not going to just spill all the tea on social media. But I really do appreciate you saying, like, during COVID, it was a time where things were difficult. Not like, okay, yeah, everything was great. I love when people just keep it real because it makes you more relatable. And I feel like being vulnerable is like a part of life. We all go through shit. We all go through moments where relationships, family, career. So I appreciate you just even giving that little bit of
honesty is like so refreshing. And it's kind of like when you think about things, I'm like, Instagram and social media, it's a business. We're in the business of putting the best business out there. But if you actually zoomed out, you can have dirty dishes. You can like the shit going fire over here. Yes. So I appreciate the reality. And I think if you bring this energy to your podcast, Call Me Daddy might be canceled, honey.
Oh, don't even get me started.
Call Me Daddy is bad, girl.
Oh, Call Me Daddy is just something. I love the energy, the boss bitch energy and the no fear, able to talk about whatever, like this kind of stuff and what we're talking about in Call Her Daddy. Like that is all the energy that I want to bring. But, I understand why people do kind of lie and it's like fake Instagram. I get lucky because I have a relationship that is so open and honest. And like Matt tells it all on the podcast. There are some times when I'm like, oh, I can't believe you posted that photo of me, or I can't believe you spoke about that. But then I'm like, no, but I kind of love it because that's who we are.
I love that.
That is so dope. Girl, this has been, I was expecting like something bomb, but I wasn't expecting this. So I'm like, girl, you came all the way, especially because we never really got a chance to know each other.
I know we're like just two ships passing in the night. It's so sad.
I know. Well, I mean, gonna put it out there. Who knows what the future brings? Maybe we'll cross paths again. So before we get into our rapid fires, this is your last chance to go ahead and spill the tea and tell the fans out there anything that, some upcoming things or whatever it is, girl. It's your chance to spill the tea.
Okay, so I just want everyone to know, first of all, I'm not pregnant. Someone asked me if I was pregnant today. Oh. So the tea is that I'm not pregnant, nor am I going to be pregnant in the next few years. Also, July 14th is the date that I am free. So honestly, I'm booking things for July 14th. You guys are going to see me that entire first week. So I just want everyone to like keep their eyes peeled on, whatever is going on, whether it be on TV or on the independent scene. I'm trying to get back on TV as soon as I can. So, just like watch out for what I'm doing. I'm going to be trying to give little Easter eggs and like kind of warn people where I'm going to be, but you know, that's all I can really say.
Okay.
Not playing games.
So we're gonna do some rapid fires, and girl, please don't tell us a storybook because we begin some storybook sometimes. Just the first thing that comes to mind when we ask you a question.
Okay. You said the first thing that's on my mind or the first thing that comes to mind? My bad. Continue.
Okay. Who do you call on a bad day?
My mom.
What is your biggest pet peeve?
Bad breath and bad teeth.
Ooh,
Oh my God. I fucking hate bad teeth.
I can't.
Dirty.
Name one fun fact about you.
Ooh, I guess the fun fact would be that I am actually a gypsy and I would never wear shoes if I didn't have to.
Okay.
That's an interesting one.
I lived in Australia for a year and I did not wear shoes, I swear to God, for almost a year.
Girl, I'm from Sydney, Australia. Where the hell were you, girl? Because
I was in Manly.
oh, well, she on the beach all the time. She a beach bum. That's fine.
Yeah.
We can do that. All right. If you were granted one wish, what would it be?
I guess it would be to bring all my family members to America and like be able to support them and live in a big giant house with all my family.
That's dope.
She's real cute, girl.
Right? Yes. So, girl, for people who are living under a rock and don't know who you are, and they need to know who you are, let everybody know. Let everybody know where they can follow you at, listen to the podcast, and just, follow your journey.
So I am on Instagram at Chelsea A. Green. I always get these mixed up. On Twitter at I'm Chelsea Green. And then you can follow me on all platforms at 50 Shades Pod. First episode was just released. We're going to just keep it going, keep the momentum going. The first episode was just 22 minutes long, real short and sweet, but we're going to get longer and longer and more in depth and more embarrassing stories to come.
She sounds like she's talking about a sexual experience.
Just you wait.
And more in depth. Oh, I feel you already, girl.
I'm shook. I cannot. Where can everybody follow your crazy ass, Matt?
Listen, they can follow me at Matt Dillon 1983, and trust me, it gets crazy by the minute. My lady love, Ariane, what about you, girl?
You guys can follow me across the board at Ariane Andrew. And of course, follow Sippin' the Tea TV show on Instagram at Sippin' the Tea TV show, Sippin' the Tea TV1 on Twitter. And of course, subscribe, like, comment. And if you're an audio listener, make sure you follow us on all digital streaming platforms. We will catch you guys same time, same place of another episode of Sippin' the Tea TV show. Yes, Henny.